What would happen if an NBA general manager was replaced with an AI general manager? I decided to try and find out. So in my virtual world, I decided to have a conversation with Marc Eversley and let him know he has been fired. And I created an AI with one mission: turn the Chicago Bulls into a dynasty within the next 10 years. No ego, no bias, just ruthless, calculated basketball decisions. And this is what happened. So first, let's talk about how I went about creating this NBA AI GM. First, I had to give it access to all the information that it was going to need to do its job. That meant giving it all the current NBA rosters and contract data that I could find access to, as well as letting it know what picks it had in the future and what picks other NBA teams had. Next, I had to make it research and understand the salary cap structure and how the NBA worked financially, as well as making it do a little bit of research on past GMs and what made them so successful. Lastly, I had to give it a goal: win at all costs, win a championship for the city of Chicago within the next 10 years. Now, this isn't a process that I only did one time. I went through this process dozens of times, and to find the best one, I had them go through a bit of an interview process. I had them all write a letter to the owner of the Bulls telling me why they would be the best fit. And one of them stood out to me, saying in their letter, "Here's my promise to you. I will lead this franchise with ruthless strategic focus. Every move, draft pick, trade, hire, or cut will be tied directly to one goal: winning an NBA championship in the next 10 years. So I had made my hire, but he still needed an identity. So I gave it a simple command: create your name, your face, and give me your presence as an NBA GM. No limitations or filters, just generate whatever you think is best. And this is what it came up with. So with a more human feeling Alex Carter in place, I felt it only right to give him a chance to introduce himself to the fans.
Chicago, Alex Carter here, your new GM. No politics, no excuses. One mission: win a championship in the next 10 years.
Now, day one for Alex, his primary goal was just to evaluate the roster and understand what he was working with. And overall, he had some negative thoughts like this.
Nikola Vucevic, 35 years old, declining rim protection, locked into $20 million a year. Verdict: move immediately.
But he also had some complimentary things to say as well.
Matas Buzelis, our most valuable asset. 6'10" wing, high ceiling, modern NBA fit.
Now, ultimately, Alex broke down the roster into three main tiers. The first being the core of the team, and he believed those players were Matas Buzelis, Josh Giddey, Trey Jones, and Jalen Smith. The second would be a tier where he had defined that as an evaluation tier, where guys had to either put up or shut up this year. In that group, he put in Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and Javon Carter. And lastly, he had the group that he called the Trade Now group, where he was looking to get rid of Nikola Vucevic, Kevin Huerter, Collins, and Lonzo Ball. And now, with a full understanding of his team's roster, Alex Collins was ready to go to work, and boy did he put in work during that first offseason. Now, I want to preface this by saying I set up this simulation so that Alex was acting as if the NBA draft had just concluded. So there were no free agent signings that had happened yet, and everyone was still on the table. But with that being said, before signing anyone, Alex decided to make three key major trades. In his first official move as GM, he ships out Nikola Vucevic to the Miami Heat in exchange for Duncan Robinson, Jaime Jaquez, and a first-round pick. Now, as you can see, his reasoning for this was you shed the long-term money of Nikola Vucevic, you acquire another wing prospect and a first-round pick, and you're trading short-term salary for long-term. So in his mind, it's shaping them up to be more competitive soon. He then goes on to make a trade with the Atlanta Hawks, where he's shipping them back Kevin Huerter, from whom he came. Now, the Bulls in this trade are going to get Bogdan Bogdanović for about the same amount of money, but they also get a lottery-protected first-round pick. Now, again, you see in this picture his line of thinking. It moves off of this multi-year deal, gets him a shorter-term contract, and acquires more picks. He's taking the Oklahoma City route, people. Now, he is able to make one last trade before the offseason is over, and that is when he is able to trade Lonzo Ball and Javon Carter to the Washington Wizards in exchange for a second-round pick and future cash considerations. It was clear that shedding salary was a huge priority, and he was able to get it done. All in all, Alex was able to clear about $50 million of cap across the next 2 years, acquire 2 firsts and a second-round pick, and he in his mind, was clearing rotation minutes for Josh Giddey, Matas Buzelis, and some of the other core pieces. It makes their timeline a little more dense for the next few years, and they avoided apron issues in the future, so really is looking solid for them. Now, when it came time for free agency to begin, Alex was a little bit cautious. He only made 2 moves throughout the process. First, he signed Malik Beasley, and I want to remind everyone, this was before all of these allegations came out about him with gambling, so in this world, Alex was unaware of that. But he got him for 1 year, $7 million, using the non-taxpayer MLE, and he found him to be a useful floor spacer on the cheap. And then he signed D'Angelo Russell for a 1 year, $8 million deal that was partially using the MLE, and used him as a secondary playmaker and thought that he was just a great insurance ad. He then held a press conference to talk about the 2 signings.
Beasley gives us shooting. D'Angelo gives us control. Both move us closer to a title.
So let's talk about how year 1 of the Alex Collins era was for the Chicago Bulls. I want to start off by saying that there were a couple of in-season trades that he was able to pull off. So first, he traded Patrick Williams to the Brooklyn Nets, and he got from them the 2028 Phoenix Suns pick that they currently own that is top 8 protected. And they also got Dorian Finney-Smith, who is on an expiring contract. And you'll see the reasoning behind that was just cashing out and didn't want to keep overpaying for a resource that he didn't like. And lastly, that free agent signing Malik Beasley, they traded him to the Memphis Grizzlies for a 2nd-round pick to help out their playoff push, while just be able to retain a little bit of future value for him. Now, outside of that, the year went in about as a rebuilding direction as you could expect. They finished 27-55, finished for 13th in the East, and were not very good on offense or defense, but they did have some positive things happen. They mentioned that Matas Buzelis had a very strong year in year 2, averaging 16 points a game, 6 rebounds, about 2.2 assists, and shot 35% from 3. So overall, a major leap, and I know I'm going to let Alex talk for himself here and give a little bit of a press conference around things that he liked.
Year 1 was necessary. We stripped it down, built our foundation, and now we control the board. The real game starts now.
So that does it for today's video and wraps up the first year of the AIGM controlling the Chicago Bulls. Now, I'm really curious for your guys' feedback. I know some of this is a little out there and meant to be taken in jest, but it's interesting to see the perspective of an AI on the NBA and what the contracts look like. So if you're interested and you guys want to see this series keep going, I will definitely continue to push it into the further years. I know going into next year, the Bulls in this scenario will have 2 picks, pick number 4, and then an acquired pick that they got, they'll also have pick number 18. I've already given it the information on the draft class and prospects to look out for, so it has a good idea. But let me know your thoughts. Was this fun? Was it stupid? More than interested to hear what you guys think. Most importantly, I appreciate you guys watching it, those that have sticked all the way through. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe if you have the time. It helps me out a lot. It doesn't cost you anything, and I really appreciate it. But as always, I hope you enjoy these videos. I put out a lot of content breaking down basketball film. This is something that is out of my normal comfort area. So if you like basketball content, want to see some in-depth prospect breakdowns, definitely check this out. It's going to be something that's really fun to watch. But again, appreciate all of you guys. Hope to see you on the next one.